Hello, another live stream, this time on the Wednesday, because tomorrow I have another appointment. So we went to the Wednesday at the start of 2023, and I hope everybody's well and everybody enjoys the jump into 2023. And you see the setup's a little bit different. You see a chord prophecy on the upper left corner, because I wanted to talk about controllers. So I'm playing this synth, but what you hear is BIT currently. So let me see that it is always visual. So what I did is simply using the additional features, and that's why the reason why I purchased this controller for on stage, to have some additional controllers. So it has this roll bar, which you can see here. That's this controller number 2, which is also breath controller. And it has this slider here, which you can move from left to right. So it has the traditional pitch wheel, modulation wheel on the left side, and then you get this here. And yeah, of course, once you have a keyboard like this, or maybe another keyboard which has some additional features, some have a ribbon controller. So this one you can compare to a ribbon controller. And the first thing I had to do, of course, is look, what are these controllers? And of course, you can catch up the manual and watch the manual for what the controllers are. But what I did is simply record the controllers. So I pressed record on Cubase. So let me show Cubase for you here. See all kind of tracks. So this is BIT is playing, and I press simply a record, and then I move this controller here, and then you see it records this controller. And what I notice, we will see in a second, is that essentially it sends out 2 controllers. So that's the ribbon controller, and then you have this bar you can move upward and downwards. Okay, you see that? Now, the next thing I did was then open the MIDI editor. So I'll go to the MIDI list editor, and then you see that the first one is controller 16 and 17. Here's a very little thing here. 17 is essentially used for on-off. And 16 is essentially the variation in terms of the controller value. So 17 is more a on-off value in some way, I noticed, and 16 is more as you would like to use it. So maybe for some reason they use also controller 17 for the internal synth engine from the core prophecy. But in this case, in Bit, I use controller 16. So this is the first controller. The other one, okay, that's later on in that's the bar, and the bar is controller 2. So open that one, MIDI open list editor. And then you see that one is controller 2, which is breath controller. So here you see it in the list editor. Of course, in the past, if you use this on MIDI, it's sometimes, because you see it's a lot of data which flies over this MIDI cable. Sometimes the controllers cause some latency issue, because the MIDI transmission is a serial transmission, which is not extremely high speed. So if you had then too much data on one MIDI port, you could have some latency issues. Well, that's why they had on the early Atari or Mac computers the multiple MIDI outputs, so that you could share the MIDI data. Of course, if you're recording this into plugins or whatever, it's never an issue, of course. Okay, so let's close it. So this is what we used. And then, yeah, of course, you need to connect this in your synthesizer. So going back, throw this back here, you see BIT. I made the controller here. CC16 is controlling the frequency of filter 1. So that's this one. You hear a little bit of staircase because that's the controller only has 127 steps, and you need to keep the finger very well pressed, otherwise it jumps back, of course. So the 16, which was also on this top part, if I pick that one, controller 17, yeah, that's more on off. So that's more for heading as an additional controller for something on off. Most likely it has to do with the internal synth engine in the Core Prophecy, which is a very cool synth. It has some very nice modeling sounds, which I also will use on stage. But I also purchased this one to play on stage with the virtual instrument, of course, our own product. So here I go back to MIDI controller 16. So you see, you need to keep this finger well. So what I did with controller 2, which is brass controller. So here you see in the list, brass controller. I add that one for the oscillator 1 volume. So oscillator 1 is added. So it's not playing now. And so this way you can really have some additional features, dynamic things which you can do with your synthesizers. So that's what I wanted to show you today. So this is the first example with BIT. And let me check first the chat room. Yeah, everybody, yes. Happy new 2023. Yeah, this is the first live stream for this year. And next week we are back again on our regular Thursday. It's only today that we have on Wednesday a live stream, because tomorrow there's another appointment, but I still wanted to do a live stream, of course, each week. And what I did is post this on the YouTube community tab. So the community tab, you can find on my homepage, and if you have a click on the bell icon, you also get a message if I post something there. So I posted that today we'll have the live stream on Wednesday. So is anyone having problems accessing the RP website? It's still in the air, so maybe you could do a Control F5, a refresh thing. So that's if you have a browser, Control keyboard and F5, that refreshes your browser. Sometimes people, mostly German customers, mention that our downloads are very slow, but this has to do with the internet provider, which they trim down, factorize. They if everything is outside YouTube, and the big players, they trim down, and most likely it also has to do with the amount you pay per month for this internet connection, that you don't have all the speed for everything. So that's what we noticed, because the servers we use, the new ones, are very, very fast. Yeah, Bit 2 is going to have some cool things. I cannot show it yet, of course. We are working on it. The biggest changes we'll have in the oscillator section, some new things. I think in the filter section, we already have most of the common filters, but I think maybe we also do the shifting one. But in the oscillators, we will have some additional, what some people say, the super saw type of thing. So because in BIT you don't see the spread, and the spread is essentially what we do with Predator 3. And there if you start using spread, it turns the 1 oscillator in a 3 oscillator and detunes it. So these are things, but the main cool thing will be in the arpeggiator. So we have ratcheting, we have a new magic dial, which does some very magic stuff. We have also polyphonic sequences, which is, because here you have the mode, you know, up, down, which is arpeggiator. And we have, of course, here also the sequencer mode, which is a monophonic sequencer with a reset if you play a new note. But we also will have a polyphonic sequencer thing. We will have more modulation matrix things. We will have in the amp section, we have now one distortion type. We will have more distortion types, and we will have a cool idea from one of the customers was to have a hold feature or lock feature in the play mode. We have the lock feature, of course, here in the bit itself. So if you go here into the arpeggiator bank, so let's take here the arpeggiator, and I go here and press lock, then it locks and then go to the next preset. It plays the same arp. So if I unlock it now, you hear the original. That was a nice preset. And here you could use then, for instance, the controller 2. So let's use the controller 2, which is brass, to use the decay of, let's say, envelope 1 or filter 1. So that's cool things which you can do with the additional things here. So a bit, we hope to have it in, hopefully in March. I saw somebody who wants to have a dark version of BIT. We might consider that as sort of the additional goo size, although I really like the way it is now. We will have then what you don't see here, animated dials. If you want animated dials, they will be added. So these kind of things. Can the sub-oscillator be unlocked from oscillator 2 in bit 2? How do you mean unlock? Yeah, a sub-oscillator is always locked to another oscillator because that's why it's called a sub-oscillator. And it's already special that we can make different waveforms here. And I think even possible if you use, so if you maybe say, okay, I want to detune. So this is only oscillator 2, sub-oscillator we saw. I think if I use offset, here offset, and go to the oscillator, maybe it has the oscillator 2 sub-oscillator tuning. Maybe it is there, but I don't see it. Nope. Maybe, oh sorry, I was looking. Oh yeah, semi-tune. It's possible to detune it. Oh, I mean, I want to drop it in 24 semitones tone. Oh, that's a lot. It's a, of course, a regular, normal. Yeah, you could use any offset and then. Now it's 24 down, even 3, because you need to count already 1 octave down. So it would be -12. You have minus. So that's a little trick you can do. Okay, so there's some lot discussion about somebody not getting on the papen.com homepage. We don't hear that often. I think it's still in the air. Sometimes, yeah, of course. If I kick here, yeah, it's in the air. You can see it. It's in the air. We don't have any problems currently. So now and then we have a big attack. What very often happens to every brand. Trying to break in. We had recently a attempt from China, and of course on the east side they are very active on this point. But lucky enough, until now, they could not break in, and the connection is always secure. So if you go, it's always HTTPS. So always a secure connection. Well, we don't have ads on our homepage. It's strange, Thomas. I have no clue. Try another browser or refresh your browser. Very strange. Thomas is asking why Albino 3 was discontinued. Well, it was a conjunction together with Limplug, and that did not work out very well, this working together. So I had to stop this to not be too frustrated about everything what happened. And we moved forward and never looked back. If you would play BIT next to Albino 3 now, you would notice there's a big difference in audio quality. Of course, at that time, the audio quality was good and it has its own sound. But if you look at the reverb and the brilliance of the sound, the punch of our currently product line has far more dynamics, which is logic because you can do far more now with the CPU compared to 10 years ago. So so I still have it here among computer, but I must say, if I compare it with our current product line, and also some people ask, why don't you make it Albino 4? Well, this would take so much work in terms of making it up to date, like the bank manager, you name it. And yeah, some of these sound codes I found not always very good. So the reverb is not as good as it should be. So, and then it would take a lot of work, and we rather spend our time on developing new cool stuff. So, and of course, it was a very cool synth, but yeah, for unlucky reason, it died out. And of course, that's the disadvantage if you don't develop it fully in own control, and if you depend on other people. So that was the reason it stopped. So okay, so let's go back to the other things which we can do. So I went also to Blade. So let me see where Blade is. So Blade is a sequence. And there I use the controller too. You can see it here in the modulation matrix. Oh no, I did that in the XY itself, because in the XY down here, you have the source to control the speed. You see, source, control amount, and speed of the XY. So in breast controller, it's just this one. So yeah, you see, also for this synth, you can use the XY, or let's take another sound. Let me see if I have another sound. So this is a pad sound. Yeah, we could use it for changing the filter. So I would go to the modulation matrix. Again, I select the breath controller and connect this one to the filter. Where are you? Here it is, filter frequency. So then I'm not sure if the animation works. Turn animation on, it works. I only don't see it moving. Maybe that has to do with the controller. That could be. Yeah, so that's also, for instance, in distance, you could use that as a extra. Unlucky this control keyboard doesn't have aftertouch. Otherwise, you would have aftertouch, modulation wheel, pitch wheel, and this bar here, and with the ribbon controller and this bar movement. So yeah, and of course you can do it. This was playing it also on Blue 3, and on Blue 3 I also prepared something. So here we have Blue 3, and we have this calf lead. Let me see. No, this one. Oh, is it gone? Oh, I didn't. I have to put that in here. Yes, here it is, calf lead. So this one uses FM synthesis. Some people think there's a distortion active, but that's not the case, because if you go to the FX, there's only a little bit of chorus and stereo delay. So there's no distortion in this one. And even there's no filter used. This is pure FM synthesis. Oscillator 3, 4, and 5 modulate 6. And instead of using a traditional sinus waveform, I use this square. So if I put it in the sinus, you get a very clean sound. A bit jazzy sound. But if you use then a square, it starts to sound as a distortion guitar. So now what I did is using the breath controller to change oscillator 4 semitone. And then the controller 16 for the volume. But that should be, it's not that much. I think that maybe I should have then the modulation volume, this one. No, that doesn't change much the sound. So that's, of course, you need to experiment what works and what doesn't work. So maybe oscillator 3, which is also working. There we have a, it's the envelope, oscillator 3 envelope, the decay, because I think that one has a very short decay. Oscillator 3, we go to the envelopes. Yeah, you see, and there I could... Oh, that's ugly. So that's not a good one. So this really makes the attack in the sound. And if you make it too long, you get this. But still, this is what you could do with FM type of sounds. So, of course, you need to patch it. And once you have it, you need to save this preset. So I saved this preset in this raw personal bank. So you always need to save it because you added the preset and you address inside the preset the changes, the controllers. Let me see what you can also do. Let me see, was it maybe? Let me see. So here, so I'm just checking what is working. So this is really the FM sound. So what I could do then, go to the modulation matrix, pick again this MIDI brass controller, which is this bar, and connect that one to, for instance, the oscillator 5 volume, and that influences the sound. Okay, a little bit more. It could be even maybe number 4. So this is already not that changing oscillator much. So maybe 4 is better. Now you hear it. And of course, you always can use it twice to say brass controller. Also control the oscillator for semitone. So this is typically FM. What I'm changing now, we're using the... that sounds weird. So let's go down in the pitch, 1 octave down. I think 1 octave down. So that was... So now this bar, when I open it, changes the sound. So now put in the other oscillator. And I could use then the other controller, which is 16, controller 16 for controlling the filter 1 frequency. Let's see what happens. Let's go with make it down. So yeah, see, it depends on your synth, which parameter you can pick or use, but everything you need to put here into action in the modulation matrix. Yeah, there you need to address these controllers, and then it adds some additional expression, some additional cool things to the sound. Let's try this with a Predator 3. We did not have Predator 3 yet, so let's see if we can make it up. Okay. Now let's see. Oops. It's a very drony sound. Here we also have the modulation matrix. We could, for instance, change maybe the wave selected. So if I shut down these, I only play the first one. And then I go here down in modulation matrix, select again the, for instance, yeah, again, maybe this brass controller for this bar moving. And set it to oscillator 1 morph. And let's see what happens. So the range is 4 waveforms, but maybe we could make it 8. So you change dynamically, essentially. You see it moving around up here. It doesn't have a negative value, so it only goes positive. That's maybe the negative value is a different controller. Let me see. Let me record that one. So that could be the reason why it goes not negative. And we simply can see this by opening the list editor. Here it is. Ah, that's controller 3. Hey, so that's interesting. So I was still moving it upwards also, and forgot to move downwards and record it. So that's controller number 3. You see it up here. So essentially, if I use then controller 3, I know I need to look up which is controller 3. MIDI controller 3. Give me 1 second because I need to know. MIDI CC3. Undefined. Okay. That's something. Because I don't think we have 3 inside of it. Nope. What is 3 undefined? Because here we have the free one, so we could add essentially 3 also. Okay. With, of course, if I would use the MIDI 16, which is this ribbon controller, then of course I would have bigger range. But I need to go down to 0 here. Yeah, it's also an option. So it depends. For sure, we need to look into controller 3, what it is. If we maybe can add it in the future also as controller list, because 3 is undefined, which is typically. So let me see if we go here and take another preset. And now I already used the modulation wheel to control the cutoff frequency. So I could use them maybe if I say go here in morph, that I say morph between saw and square, that I use the go to the mod matrix, that I use this bar, this breath controller, to change from saw to square in this preset. So I morph from one to another. So let's see how that happens. I saw that the ARP3 also was controlling the oscillator 1 morph. So in the ARP, it already changed a little bit to, at a certain point, to another waveform. Huh. So now it's steady on a saw, and I use the brass controller here, this bar, to go to the square. then we could use the other one. Let me see, because the sub-oscillator is not used in this oscillator one. This is just one oscillator sound. So I could go to the controller 16, which is this ribbon controller. And then I would say control for this, the oscillator one sub-volume. See, you can do some very cool things with controllers. And if your keyboard doesn't have these ribbon controller or the bar which you can move up and downwards, your synth might still have controller dials. So then you could check, okay, which controller, for instance, is this one? So I can record that again. So you see the keyboard here, and then I change this dial here, then I can see which controller it is. MIDI controller is 19. So this is number 19. So I close this again, and I pick here controller number 19. And then I can use this dial here for adding the sub-oscillator. Okay, so you see, you can do cool things with simply using controllers, and most keyboards, MIDI keyboards, have some controllers to be sent out. I see Deep Plastic Underground has a question: how you can export the new sounds we create? Yeah, you can always save it. Export. You cannot use it in other synths, but you can export in the way that you save the preset. Because if you think, oh, this is a cool preset, you simply go in the menu here. First, you need to create your own folder. So here you would say, you create a folder here with new, My Sounds, for instance, you could create. And then you go into the preset menu and you save your preset, save preset in folder. And then you select your own folder, which would be, in this case, My Sounds. So this could be your bank. Okay, and then of course always give it a different name. So that would be a prophecy preset. So I save it, and then you see in My Sounds, oh, here it is. My Sounds, here it is. Yeah, here it is. And of course, if you are using a new system, it's always wise to back up your presets. And what you could do, if you look on my YouTube channel, you can find in the Predator 3 playlist a whole tutorial about presets and banks with Predator 3. So how you could work with presets and banks. So it takes only a few minutes. Check it out, and you will have a lot of benefits in using Predator 3. So this is how you can save your own presets. Of course, if you work on a song and you save a song and you did all kind of things in the presets, in the songs, it's always memorized in the song itself, but the preset isn't stored. But the changes you did, they are all stored. But yeah, we are having MPE support with Predator 3. Only we don't have that much presets. With Blade 2, I made some presets in MPE mode. So if you go to Blade 2, and then you go to the manager, you can see we have a bank MPE presets. So because I have a Rolly keyboard myself, and then I created some presets. So in the play mode, if you go to the preset, you see that the play mode, which is here, that the play mode is poly MPE. So you have polyphonic mode, mono mode, legato, arpeggiator playing, or polyphonic MPE. What you need to keep in mind if you're using multi-polyphonic expression is that you have the MIDI output also, and the that you not set your, so for instance, if you want to control this in Cubase, you need to set, for instance, here in your setting, in the MIDI setting, any, so that it don't select a track with MIDI track 1 and try to do MPE. That's not possible. You have to have any. So any MIDI that comes in needs to go to your plugin. So you see, any means that if I play here from the core on MIDI channel 3, the plugin always will play. So for MPE, you need to always to have the MIDI on this instrument set to any, so that it has the 16 MIDI channels popping up. We had one very good idea, which we might do very soon, is that we have in the play mode a lock feature. We will have that in BIT, which also will be MPE compatible. And then you see poly MPE is also inside Blue 3. So we are compatible, but then you need to save the preset with this setting. But if you would have a lock system for the play mode, then you could say, okay, set poly MPE, and then it means for all the presets. Of course, the arpeggiator will not work then anymore, because the sequencer and arpeggiator are a different story that doesn't work with poly MPE in general. So we are having, or since the recent releases are all MPE compatible. And of course, if the Osmos has different MIDI outputs, controller settings, default, yeah, then you need to go what I'm doing here. Yeah, then save the whole thing together as a setting. So there you need to save the changes you do. So I'm not familiar with this almost. I did see it. Very nice to see this keyboard, but I don't know what they have as an extra MIDI channel. Mostly it's expression like that. So the standard MIDI controllers, what they will use, for instance, if you see in the MIDI list, you have channel polyphonic aftertouch, then of course, which is available in all plugins. You have then yeah, you see the breath controller. Most likely they will use that foot controller and expression and brightness. I think modulation wheel. So maybe it's an idea that we behind expression is, I think, controller 12, that we put a number behind it so that you know what it is, because now you see breath controller is controller 2, which we use now in this setup. Yeah, cool. Yeah, this Osmos makes more from a keyboard, so you have far more expression with the keyboard. Cool. I need to check a YouTube video about this Osmos keyboard, what is all inside of it. I thought it was Wednesday today. It's Wednesday, yes. We have today a live stream because tomorrow I'm not in the studio. But next week, Thursday, we are back again on our regular Thursday live stream. 8 o'clock we start, Central European time. And yeah, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you have an idea, or just let me know on the info@rawpapen.com email address. Maybe you have a song you like to share. We have today 2 songs. One song, hopefully he's watching. He did send it in, but because we were so busy, this one slipped. And it's a very nice demo song using Punch to a lot of the products, and we have, of course, a song by Tom Aldrich. Tone Rob in Predator 3 away. Yes, that's possible. And if you go to Predator 3, which is essentially in all our plugins, and let me show open Predator 3. You go to the bank manager, and then you go search category, and then you say leads, and then it shows all the leads which are possible. Sometimes you need to scroll here. Oh, here it is. Leads, this one. Uh-oh. Oh, you go to Synth leads. Dikke Synth. So it's in the bank manager. You can search category. Then you can fine tune it. You say distorted, and then you have other ones. So this is a combination. 31. Oh, you go down here. You see in all the banks which light up, there are lead synth sound. That's more a funky classic synth. So you see a lot of so this is very distorted. So all the things pop up here in Synth 1. But this is of course the distorted one. So if I unclick distorted, you get all the other ones. Pre-Mowgli. Pads, so if you go here and pads, so this is how it works. Go to the Mac Manager, click on search category, and then you go to all pads. Great new age sounds. Yeah, Bluetooth. I think we have in Predator 3 some very nice sounds already. So if you go in Predator 3, you will find also an ambient bank, which is down here. So go to the normal. Some very nice. So if you scroll down, you get Ambient 1 and 2, which is from the original Predators. All very cool sounds. And I think also here we have a ambient bank, which are the Predator 2, Predator 3 sounds. Mind Up. So let me see. Oh yeah, Blue 3 has of course also some great stuff. So essentially, oh now I'm lost my. Where is my Cubase? I'm using Cubase 12 now. I'm not used to the color in the toolbar. It's now blue blue instead of Blue 3 has a lot of ambient, so especially in the pad sounds, you will find some very have, of course, not 5-octave keyboard, although I can go 1 octave. So very nice ambient sounds in many of them. I think this is also... It's more synth. Ambient ice melt pad. Plenty on board. So yeah, the Mag Manager helps on this subject. So yeah, that guys for today. For using another keyboard, controllers. If you may be a bit late, you always can check the live stream from the start in the playlist live, and even I think on the, if you go to my YouTube channel, there's videos and also live, and then you can watch back the all the live streams also from recent history. Okay, so we had 2 demo songs. So the first one, which I'm gonna play. Let's go open. Okay, it's Dutch. I hope First Byte is his artist name. He uses mainly Blues 3, some Go 2, Blade 2, and Punch 2, and 1 sample. I'm not sure what 1 sample is. Its name is First Byte, and so let's play it. Hopefully I click the right one. So I need to click down here a few. So I'm not sure if I'm playing this one. Or is it this one? I think this one. Just yeah, this one was from Tom Alric, so I forgot the names of the demo songs. And the next one will be from... okay, I'm good at names. I forgot that one already. First Byte. Here we go. First Byte. Plug it in 1222. Yeah, Tom is ruling the show today. Yeah, we have another one. That's the Happy Blue in top. Tom thinks that's the one I should have played. So yeah, we still enjoy it. So it's not a problem to enjoy all the Tom Alray demos. And Tone has still a question. He says, what type of synth is Predator 3? Well, it's hybrid. It's subtractive, and you have wavetables indeed, no samples. It's virtual analog waveforms or additive waveforms, and then it also can do a little bit of FM synthesis because it has 3 oscillators which you can connect together with phase modulation and that kind of stuff. So it's a hybrid one. Okay, so let's give it another try. And the Happy Blue, and in the happy case, it could be still one of Tom, but most likely this one is the one I wanted to play the first time. So let's click it and let's see what happens. Okay, guys, we finally get there, and this was this demo song by First Byte, mainly Blue 3, Go 2, Blade 2, and Punch 2, and 1 sample was used, and very nice. Thank you, First Byte, for sending it in, and you guys also, thank you for joining me in the first live stream of 2023. Next week, we will be back on the Thursday, 8 o'clock, and I hope to see you there. And as mentioned, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss anything, click on this bell icon on my YouTube channel. Then you always get the very first notice if something is new. Thanks for watching, and enjoy creating music, and stay healthy.